Me too. I barely know how to use my phone too.
All right, let me make sure that we are on here. All right, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining me. I did my first live on what was it? Monday, and you was
Yeah.
the only one that was responding, and we clicked, and you said that you wanted to, tell your story, talk about it. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the people. So let's get into it. So tell me something about yourself. Let's start from the beginning.
All right. My name is Trell. I'm from Stockton, California, and born and pretty much born and raised. Typical black background. I'm the third child of seven. My mom had seven, and it's me and two of my brothers. We got the same dad, and yeah, it's I come from everything that people's familiar with. The struggle, the gang banging, all of that, all of that. But I finally got to a point where I'm starting to get to know myself and kind of see the discrepancies in life from some of the stuff from a system of social heredity that I followed that just wasn't good for me. You know what I mean? And many other men as well. And yeah, I did 10 and a half years in prison. I've been out 5 years. I beat parole. I didn't did the pills, the drugs, all that. I've been there. I've been there. I got three kids, married right now. And yeah, I'm just trying to be a better dude, but I'm finally to a realization that how we're raised is not right. You know what I mean? What we
So
believe
let's
in.
stop here. So let's stop here. Let's talk about how you was raised. So you said it's seven of you guys.
Yes, yeah. My mom had seven. Yep, four boys and three girls.
Was a dad in the house with you all, or was your mom just single, like in a relationship? Then she have the kid, and then they break up, and then like what was that like?
Well, my dad, they were. I was real young when my mom and dad was together, and they ended up splitting up. My dad, he used to abuse my mom, and drugs was in play on both ends. And she was young, he was young, and they was learning life, and we ended up going with my grandma when I was probably about 4 years old. I think, as far as me, with my great grandma out of town in Tracy, California, and we was kind of raised with her until I got to probably like the fifth grade, and then I came back to Stockton with my mom to live with my mom. So yeah,
So what was that like? So at going to live with your great grandmother and being away from your mom as a small kid, what was going through your head when you had to do that?
uh, everything, because the city we were in, it was like a more whitish city. It was a more kind of established city. My great grandma, she has a big old house out there with land. And so my uncles, they construction workers, contractors, you name it, work on the Bay Bridge, all that in the Bay Area. And so it was different. It was a real Christian home, and but yeah, we were definitely like yearning to be under our mom. We used to sit in front of the house and by the gate, my brother would be like, come on, dad gonna come. He gonna pop up. He gonna pop up. And we'd just cry. We'd do all that. And we wanted to be with our mom, but we would go like on the weekends, after church or whatever. We get to go see our mom in Stockton. It's like a 30-minute drive. And
Okay.
yeah, we was kind of raised on that. But the most part about spiritual and everything, I think, was definitely with it was my great grandma that we was with. Yep.
Oh,
So
it was your great grandmother.
yeah, yeah. Because my grandma, she did what she could too, but she had an alcohol problem. She used to drink, but she still pushed for us as well. But we ended up with her later on afterwards. You know.
So, so it was like it was a culture shock. So you come from, so you were raised in a hood, and then your great grandmother lived in this like privileged area, basically.
Well, I ain't
Okay.
gonna say privilege, right? Because we had like some Mexican gangs that was like literally down the street or whatever. Like it's California, and at that time, gangs
Okay.
is fluent. Crips and Bloods, Norte, Serranos, you name it.
Okay.
So,
So in
but
both areas, it was like gang violence and just like a back. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to paint a picture to get into the mind of a kid and being from his mom and his parents to being somewhere else. Like, what was your surroundings like? What was your mind state like? Because at that age, you feel. People just think we
yeah,
kids just deal with it, but no, you got feelings and thoughts and emotions. So I just want to tap in to, you know, like where you were at that time?
Far as me, see, with it being so many of us, all of us had our own personality. I was the quiet one.
Okay.
And I was the quiet one. I had like a secret talent. I used to do music. I was just from a kid. I was influenced by music and sports, but
Okay.
it grew heavily with music. But far as me, I was kind of chilled back. I wasn't really tripping. I was just. It got to a point where I kind of accepted. I thought I was going to be with my grandma my whole life because it was just so stomped down on how she was raising us. It was like we're hers. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And yeah, she definitely guarded us and protected us, but when we would go to school, we're seeing people with their mom and their dad. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then the few black people that did go, it was kind of like similar situations. Their daddy might be in jail and from Oakland somewhere. They done moved to Tracy, and it was kind of similar. So we would definitely come together and trauma bond. Little did I know, I didn't know it was trauma bonding at that time, but it was definitely trauma bonding as kids.
Yep.
And we was all talking about wanting to be with our moms and our parents. And I knew my dad and my mom was never going to be back together. Like, it's just, that's what it was. But we was just yearning to be under them and,
Of
and
course,
live
all
normal like
kids want to
everybody else.
be. Yeah, all kids want to be with their parents, good, bad, or indifferent. Your parents are your parents, right? We don't
Right.
know no better. So now, when you go back to your mom, you said you was 5
No, I went back and moved with my mom in the 5th grade,
in the
almost to
fifth
6th grade.
grade.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
wow.
I left probably about 4 or 5 and went with my great grandmother.
And then you went back in the fifth. What was that like then? Like, because it sounds like grandma had a whole different kind of lifestyle and setup. So
Yeah, yeah.
y'all were indoctrinated in a certain kind of way. Now you got to go back. What does that look like for you?
Actually, when we got back with my mom, we was happy. We was stoked. We was in the ghetto or whatever, but we
Mm,
was stoked. We was around cousins. We missed we was still innocent, regardless of being around kind of hell. You still kind of felt heaven. But as we got older, no, it was cool. I'd say for me it was cool, but I immediately, like I was already influenced by gangs. It was like I was yelling blood before I was even a blood. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? And it was just natural. It was part of the culture. As soon as I got to Stockton, and that's really what it was. Like I immediately kind of, it was almost instantly. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we would go out there on the weekend. So a lot of the people that I knew, from the hood, I'd already
mm.
knew, from
Yeah.
going out there. So it was like, it was already being embedded. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's how it kicked off. And
So how'd you get into the gang? So what made you say, okay, you hollering blood, but what made you go ahead, get initiated and go that route? What situation said I'm
I got
about
an
to
uncle. I got an uncle. My uncle Leonard, he was like the family protector.
mm,
And he was a South Mob blood. You know what I'm saying? We lived in the hood,
mm,
and the hood is surrounded by a whole bunch of different gangs: Pro Valley Bloods, Pilgrim Street Crips, Nightingale, so forth, so on. But it was definitely through my uncle, and everybody would be like, "Trell, you look just like Leonard." Ooh, wow, and he went down for like a 14-year bid. And excuse me, my mouth was dry. I was trying to open the water and still hold the
it's all
phone.
right. Y'all take that. Open your
Yeah,
water. We good. We having a conversation. No
right,
pressure.
right. I appreciate it. But yeah, it was definitely just, and we was yearning to see him because he was always fun before he went to prison in like 95, 96.
Mm-hmm.
He was fun. He looked like us, you know what I'm saying? So he was like the
Yeah.
closest thing to a father figure. And it's the guy that everybody idolizes,
Mm-hmm.
big blood, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was, just based alone off of him. And
So was it that you was trying to be like him and emulate him, and you like you admired him, and then you wanted to follow in his footsteps, or did he say? Did he try to get you in?
it wasn't even really so that, right? It was just more so like my friends, everybody that I'm around. It came from many ways. It came
Okay.
from many ways. It'd be like a family function at the house. The people in there, the music on, everybody got their Coke
Yeah.
45s,
Yeah.
South Mob, Sue, Blood, all that. And
Yeah.
at the parties we would be around at other family members' house. So it was natural. And my older brother, he was actually on it first. And
Okay.
he kind of familiarized me, but I actually went in head first and got put on before he did. He more so still just sympathized. Like a sympathizer is basically a person that yells the gang, but they not put on it. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
yeah, and I went head first. Like, once I started getting into school and I had my friends around the neighborhood, it was like, and I really went in though. I really, really went in, but it took for him to get shot. Um, he got shot in the stomach at 13
Who,
by a
your brother?
friend. Yes, that was a Crip, and we was all over. Well, they were in the house chilling and smoking weed, playing PlayStation. I was across the street with my boy's brother, and the dude, he was a Crip. He was a couple years older, and he was cool. But out of nowhere, he's like, "Hey, you know what an assassin is?" And he's pointing the gun at my brother. You know what assassin is? And then my brother like, "Yeah, nigga that kill a nigga," and he hit him. Bam. That's what they told me. Yup. And then how I found out, everybody ran out the house. We were sitting on the porch. Everybody ran out the house, like all the dudes, young dudes that was up in there. And the stepdad, he come out and he got a perm. He come out. I see OG with the perm come out. And he like, "Hey, the youngster on the 10-speed shot, man. Who people is this? He shot in my house." So the shooter
Wow.
keeps my brother inside his own house and then leaves him. Everybody in the house, it was like probably like 8 niggas. They left him. Excuse me for that. But
No. Be free.
and this situation also changed my life drastically too. Believe it or not, like it's a
Did
crazy
your
story.
brother pass? Or did
He
your brother
passed
make
three
it?
times and came back. Yeah, he passed. He passed right in front of me and came back. He was in convulsions. I was right there holding his head up. He got shot with a 22 in the
Okay.
stomach, so it was like a drip of blood. It didn't even look like he got shot. So we just thought he was in shock. But the whole time the bullet was ripping in him. 22 bullets bounce around.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
ripped up his intestines and everything like that. And so we get to the hospital. Another friend was there, and he definitely spilled the beans. He like, "That's your brother. How you not gonna tell him?" I'm like, "I'm not. I wasn't in there." You know what I'm saying? And this story is a cold story because like 18 years later on, this same incident, they tried to politic me on it. Like, "Oh, he a snitch. You snitched when your brother got shot. Whoop de wop wop." And I'm like, "Nah." And I'm in when I was getting interrogated in the hospital room, my mom and my grandma was right there. And they like, "Man, whatever happened, just tell them." I'm like, "I don't really know." But the friend prior before, he goes in and tells him everything. He was right there though. And he tells him
Okay.
that he told me. You know what I'm saying? Like, "Yeah, I told Trell, what happened to his brother." So it kind of like just automatically pushed me into that shit. And
So
at the
let me
time,
ask you this, because I mean I understand I've never been in a gang or anything, right? But I
yeah,
understand street code, right? And that whole
mhm,
street code is there's no snitching, right? Like you
exactly.
go ahead and you handle your business on the back end. But
Yeah,
even though you in a gang, does that still really apply? And do they hold you at the same accountability because it's your brother?
Pete, I was a sympathizer at the time. I wasn't on the gang yet. We around
Okay.
gang members. We all that. I'm 12 at the time. My brother was damn near about to be 14, and he's almost like almost 2 years older than me, and and he's the second to the oldest. And that situation got me put on the gang when I went and retaliated on him, and we went and yeah, we yeah,
Okay.
we
Okay.
fixed it. Yeah,
Okay.
but
Wow. So what is going through your mind? That gotta be crazy. Like I like to watch one of my siblings and there's nothing I could do about it. Like what was going through your mind looking at your brother like that?
it made me step up as the big brother. It made me my brother, he was on. I had to change his bags on his stomach, piss, poop, everything. And
Mhm.
yeah, and then you come back by your friends and these fools are still around. So it brought out it brought my beast out. You know what I mean? And now it's full fledged. And so now I had a reason to really be around the guys and they had a reason to support me as well. They never tripped off none of it. They knew about the whole scenario. Like, we from Stockton, it's small. If you fart out south, they smell it out north. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Mhm.
yeah, and that's what actually got me put on. You know what I mean? But when I got put on, it was just, full character mode. Like, dude, you thinking that's who you is. And yeah, that's how
So
that started.
how did that change you? Like, cause it sounds like cause you said you was like a quiet kid or whatever. And I know
Yeah.
kids get into stuff with their friends or whatever, but like what kind of person did you become after that? Like a just a I don't give a kind of person. Anybody
No,
can get it. Like, what were you like then?
I actually became more of a lover, a guarder. I learned how to guard my people. I learned how to really love them and not give them to the enemy. I learned how to, as a kid though, and I was held up to them standards. You know what I'm saying? And especially
But
when
you
you
were
get
you
the
were
clout,
12, 13. And so
man.
at that age, you felt like you was the family protector, your friends like people protector at that age.
Yeah, because we're the ones, and mind you, my mom's set of kids, we was the ones that was like more and more in the trenches. We got cousins all around the town and they all around it, but our group was more into the culture where people wanted to be and be accepted, you know, with clout and everything. But me personally, I was the guy. I became the new Uncle Leonard. And
Mm, okay.
yup, and I thought that was how to be a man. My dad was a real cool dude, and he's from Gulfport, Mississippi. He stayed in the Bay Area. He was a roofer, and it was just because we had social workers and stuff. He couldn't come around. Dude was a good dude. Look, I didn't see him for years, and he came on like my 8th birthday. And when I'd seen him, I didn't hold no resentment towards him. I just loved him. He looked like me. He was cool. It was just like my love is real. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that love is convenient when everything's messed up. That's the conveniency of it. And
So let me
yeah,
ask you this. What did your mom say, your great grandmother who raised you, and your dad at this point, because he's around now because you met him when he came back when you was 8. So now you 14, 15 in the game. What are they saying to you about this? Or did they even know?
my mom, she wasn't for it at first. You know what I mean? Like she was like, nah, you know, like plus she's busy. She had the typical story. So she's at work.
Yeah,
We with my grandma. We staying at my grandma, like we have a spot, but things get bad. We had our, and we
yeah.
end up back at Lala's house. That's my grandma. And
Okay.
Lala's house, mind you, was in the hood. She drinks, she was a
Mhm.
holy woman too, but she drunk. She had her,
Yeah.
her vices or whatever, like far as liquor. And she had a natural energy like Uncle Leonard. Uncle Leonard's energy was really her. We get our gangster from my grandma, from my mom's mom. But
Okay.
it's on both sides. When my family on my dad's side is all from the Bay Area. And
Okay.
they're very, very known. It's the same thing, same thing. You know what I mean? And yeah, so she tried to stop it, but it was like it was out of her control. And then who we were, I think it's kind of like a guilt because we wasn't naturally under her. And it's the same thing I'm going through with my daughter right now because I just caught 12 years and I did 10 and a half years and I raised my daughter through conjugal visits. I even made a son in a conjugal visit and got home 10 days before his first birthday.
Oh
You
wow.
know, yeah, I got a cold story, And
Yeah, that's why I want to dig. I want to dig. I don't want to miss
yeah,
nothing. I want to
it's
get it step
cool.
by step by step. Okay.
Right.
So now we in a game. So now in games, for people who don't know, right? I don't know either too much, right? So
Right.
it's do you stay at a level or are like you going up? Like how does that work with you in the game? So are you like rising to be like a big homie or like how does that whole thing?
Yeah, I say that's more an ego, but truth be told, a lot of these gangs ain't with black people ain't structured. It's more of the Mahinda, excuse me, that's a Swahili word for like Mexican, the Mexicans.
Okay.
They're more structured. Blacks, like you will have the gangs, whatever, it just depends who you under. You know what I'm saying? Because things it's seasonal too, because your big homie might go to jail and catch 30 to life. Now you under somebody different and things is gonna be ran different. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying? And then the enemy are also, and mind you, the set that we're from in California, believe it or not, we're from Northern California by Sacramento. They're dual sets, Bloods and Crips together. This in particular hood. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. It's a lot what you see like in Chicago with vice lords and GDs being for the same thing, and
mm,
folk corner hustlers, and and black peace stone, et cetera, et cetera. Just
yeah.
like the Woos and the Chews in New York, it'd be a
Mm.
lot of them dudes is from dual sets. You know what I'm saying? And
Is
yeah,
that a new
so
thing or was it always like that?
no, you have certain spots, but LA is the mecca of where they're more traditional. See, Northern California is not like LA. We're not the Dickie suits and the lowriders. We get our culture from where I'm from in the valley in Stockton. We like 20 minutes away from Sacramento,
Mm.
from the Bay Area. Them is like our godfathers, like kind of. So we got that more pimpish. We players. We
Okay.
on 24s.
Okay.
We on we don't do the lolos and the hydraulics. Like people don't know it's a difference from Northern California and Southern California. It's a big difference. We even bump
Yeah.
heads in prison, literally. Like our swag is different. You know what I'm saying? You'll see us in Jordan's, Air Forces. We about getting some money.
Yeah.
We know how to deal with these women. You know what I'm saying? Like we be taught, like kind of
So
more
y'all
players.
really just want to be fly, make money, and get chicks,
But
basically.
we still down moves, so we still go off of the blood politics. You know what I'm saying? But we just have our own thing, and but I did bump up in the ranks over time for sure because my hood name is like my email is hyphy, but I made hyphy into my own acronym. It's He's Why People Hate and HYPH. It was like part of my rap name or whatever, and the grinder, hype the grinder. He's why people hating the grinder. But that's why I still use it like on my email, but I don't use it for the gang aspect. But that was my hood name, hyphy. And
Okay.
yeah,
So
it's
now let
yeah,
me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So let's fast forward. You putting in work. You doing a. So now, did you finish school? Were you going to school? You dropped out. What does that look like?
yeah, school. I was good in school actually, but me being who I see, it was harder to be a blood back then. So and it was a bunch of Crips. So when we go, it's immediate, like, we going for problems to survive, to get home after this. Guy ain't taking the bus. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then it was just our egos too. Like it was just natural. Like we kids, it was almost like a game to us. Like, oh, there go one of the Rips right there. Yep, my money got him. You feel me? So I'm getting kicked out, and
Mm.
I didn't graduate until I went to prison, and that's
Okay.
where I got my GED and stuff because it just was too hard for me to stay in class and focus even if I wanted to do work and stuff like that, like if I wasn't on the end of trying to get them, they was on the end of probably trying to get me,
That
and
gotta be a
so
crazy way to live, though. Like
yeah,
to not know, like who's around the corner, who's up the block, who's in the shadows. Like that
right.
wasn't stressful.
Well, it'd be stressful because you see people die, and then you still got to go to school, and now it's certain things. So it's like, okay, we could be next, and I got to go to the bus station downtown too. So and everybody be right there, and yeah, it was trauma based. It's all trauma, and it's a negative evil curse. I grew to learn that later on down. You can't serve two gods. You know what
No,
I
not
mean?
at all. Not
Yeah,
at all.
but God put me through that for a purpose. But I didn't use it to be evil. I wasn't the negative guy that's going to get power and abuse it. I think, a follower does that. I had more leader attributes, like, and I would stop a fight instead of starting it if it was necessary. I would tell
Okay.
my dudes, like, no, y'all in the wrong. Folks didn't do nothing. We ain't even beefing with, you know what I'm saying?
So
Always
you
had like
wasn't like on no guerrilla war type thing
right,
where it's just you beast and
right. I
just
was just down for what was necessary because the older homies taught me too. They was like, look, folks, if you ain't grinding, you in the way. So you making a bunch of chaos and all that when it ain't supposed to happen, you getting DP. Yeah, we gonna get you. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna holler at they folks and let them know that we can tank that problem. It was a system of structure so we
my
could get
nerves
money.
would have been so bad. Like I would be the worst gang member ever. Like there's so much pressure.
But to be honest, right, it wasn't even about the game because half of the people you related to them or
But
you
it's
in.
the other people though. It's the other dudes from the other sets who trauma bonded with each other that got
Right.
something to prove. It just sounds like it's for sport. Like, oh, we see you now. This is what's gonna happen.
It was real animalistic, but it was something to do because in Stockton they don't have nothing. Stockton was the city that was looked like as like we like the gangsters riding on horses. You could say compared to Sacramento or to the Bay Area, we more, you know what I'm saying?
So do
And
you think
we didn't
people
really
were
have a big
trying
reputation.
to prove? You think
Huh?
people were trying to prove that you all were about that life? So a lot of stuff happened just to prove to other areas like y'all about that life.
Well, not even just the other areas, to the people that you're around, because you could prove stuff, they still gonna want you to do it. It was a system of narcissism too, and is you getting their dirty work done. They not valuing you really. I come to learn that over time. At first, when you getting a little bit of clout and the ego, and you can actually go out and bust sales, and niggas don't tell you like, nigga, take your ass on, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
it becomes to where, but for the most part, yeah, it was like a system of narcissism, you know what I'm saying? And this whole stuff affected me dearly, but to the family, I was looked at as the dude, like, okay, something go happen, go get that Trell. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got y'all, you know what I'm saying? And I played that and I thought that's what a man was. I didn't have no real idea truly what a real man was, because the real men, the versions of the real men, like my uncles that built my great grandma's house in Tracy, they're looked at as squares. We don't respect squares. We street dudes. And everybody around thinks that's the real version of a man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now let's fast forward. What landed, like, how many times have you been locked up? Was it just that one time when you did the 10 and a half, or did you do little spurt?
Oh no. It started from 12 every year. 12 up every
Tell
year.
me what you doing.
Violations, because we'd be out there, and I'm grinding. It was like an episode of The Wire. Even though we gang banging and all that too, I'm grinding.
Yeah.
We got good weed. We out there and we hustling. Everybody mama on dope. Everybody peoples, and our slogan was, and especially when you hanging out, if you're not grinding, you're in the way, and you're gonna stay out our way because we out here trying to make some money. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was the whole mentality. But amidst all of it, I always knew I was a good dude. I actually when I really got into, I say, look, the second year I was into being a Damu, I could realize I was serving the devil. It was a lot of missions and stuff that I would do for people that wasn't my problem. And I'm like, damn, this is some shit that we really don't need to do, but my voice is not big enough to counter theirs. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, this is where I get the love at. At home, I'm getting into it with my brother. I can't be free like a kid want to be free when they think they know everything. You know what I mean? So that was my place. So you got to do what you got to do, to stick around.
So what's the Damu? What is that?
Oh, that's Swahili for blood.
Oh.
Yeah, and then Kiwi is Swahili for Crip. Sorry, I've been to prison, so we use the words like that. Like in California, we talk like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
Now, what caused you to do that long stint? Like, what happened?
Oh, it was God, really. I was going through it. I was snorting powder, and I was doing powder at 15, 16. Like up in Northern California, it's okay. It's like popping an E-pill. You know what I'm saying? So youngsters do it. And at that time, yeah, I was not in my right mind. I had a bunch of beef. I was traumatized, just got shot in my balls. And by a friend that left me for dead. I went to fight him. He shot me in the balls. I forced him for like 10 minutes, like, nigga, just shoot. I was really him. And I didn't have no thing on me. I got shot in my balls, my left directly in it, into my right leg.
You still wound up making 2 babies on conjugal visits.
Right. I made a baby. Yeah. I have a 17-year-old too. That was my daughter I was telling you about. And and yeah, they said no, it still works. And
apparently,
yeah, nothing wasn't stopping me. Nah, man, my testosterone was pumping. Yeah, I'm gonna do my thing. Yeah.
Okay. So wait, all right. So now, the friend shooting you, is that what led you to jail? Like getting back at him? Like how did you?
Yeah, back to what you were saying. No, what it was, I was out here in Sacramento, and I was with a older woman from the Bay Area, real sophisticated, good woman actually. She used to hang out or whatever too with my peoples or whatnot. But I had a good woman, so I was able to stay out of jail. That was the only time I stayed out of jail for 2 years. And we start falling out, and my hustle start falling off because of trauma, because you got so many enemies, you don't get to stand out no more. You know what I mean? You got to deal with this. And I never knew how to really work. The few jobs that I had, I was being forced to work. You know what I'm saying? And I would do the work job for like a week or two to satisfy my grandma or my mom or whatever. But I'm back because I'm like, no, all the homies out there, you feel me? And we in the middle of a war, and it's bad. You know what I'm saying? Such and so done died, and this and that, and and so I was more focused on that. That's who I was. Period. Like just, that's who I was. Like that was my life. And I'm like, no, I could just, I'm gonna hit a lick. I'm gonna get me some peas or whatever. I'm gonna flip, and this is how it's gonna go. I want an instant gratification. to get by because I was so dedicated to the hood. It's like, man, I can't work no job. This is kind of what it is. I'm gonna just finesse it, go out of town, sell stuff. That was my mentality. You know what I mean? But God literally showed me like, no, this is not your thing, brother. You falling off every thing. You know what I'm saying? So over time, it taught me that wasn't my hustle. You know what I mean? But I was real into music, and everybody was like, bro, do it. No, you cold. Like, you know what I mean? And I got phones with, certain people or whatnot. And I just didn't know, I didn't know my value. I didn't know what I was good at. And all I knew was that. You feel me?
So you went to jail for hustling?
No, my boy came over one day. I was broke. I was broken and dropped glass. And my boy came over, and it was an Asian dude who used to, buy a lot of weed. He was like a college student, and we in Sacramento, and we right by the college, and he used to spin. Now, Pete, though, he comes to I'm staying with my mom, girl, then broke up. We done got evicted. Everything's bad. You know what I mean? I'm over traumatized. And at that time, I was barely learning about PTSD, and so we tried to go. I robbed the dude. My boy was there. I tried to rob the dude, and we had a gas station, but people start pulling up and stuff, and he had the wad. And I tried to grab the money. I had the gun on him. I tried to grab the money, didn't get the money. Somebody pulled up like, hey, I snatched $10 and got away. And I looked, I got away. The dude actually had a gun on him too. And so I ran off because I knew they was, gonna call 5-0. And I get away for a week. A week go by, the same dude, he's riding in a different car and see me on a corner. And he was behind tent. Come to find out, once I got arrested, and you know how they say to identify the person, they walk up to the police car to identify you in the back seat. And I seen the dude, he had a car with tent, but he called the police. He told them exactly what kind of gun I was gonna have. I was outside with my shirt off, and I'm a big dude. I'm very noticeable. I got the 9 in my pocket, so I got some Aviso shorts on with a 9mm in there with no shirt on, and some red chucks and the whole. So I was a red hat. I'm very identified, and I'm by the corner of my mom's house. So immediately the police pull up, I jump over the car, I take them on chase, and the chase ended up getting stopped with the dogs, and they was gonna tase me. I threw the 9. He seen when I threw it. It was just a wrap. It was like a wrap. But my boy was with me too. He didn't get caught up though, and so when they got me, it was kind of like over time I just took the case to save him, so he didn't even get implemented in it. You know what I mean? And it immediately banged me up. Done it in California. We got enhancements. So they gave me 10 years for the gun and 2 years for the robbery. Yep. And then they tried to get me on gang enhancements, but because I was a documented gang member since I was 13. And, but it didn't stick because you got to have at least 3 people, 2 or more to get that. Like you basically did that for the gang. And so I didn't get banged with the gun enhancement. That would have been another 10 years. I mean, the gang enhancement.
The guy wasn't in a gang. He was just a regular everyday dude.
Yeah. He just buying zips of weed. He's a college dude. Fraternity dude. They situated in life. They got the little rice rocket. They mama and daddy coming through, and he's doing good for himself, handling his business. And he like weed. And yup. But it was at a time to where I had so much going on in my life, and I couldn't live regular. Literally, you see my eyes, this is all trauma. Like it's hard, like I still have PTSD. It's hard for me to go to sleep because when I got out, and I ain't gonna fast forward too much, but yeah, it was needed for me to do that 12 years. Well, I got 12 years with 85, but I pulled off 10 and a half. And it was needed because it gave me peace, actually. You know what I'm saying? And the structure in California prisons is different. Like you can't just, when we see the Crips, them are people. We all black. You know what I'm saying? We all black.
It changes now. So all of that gang stuff is now about color and not gangs no more.
Yeah, it's to survive in prison. It's politics now. When it's political. But me and my wife knew each other. She's from New Orleans. She came from Katrina. And we had finally got together like right before this happened. I bailed out, and then we got together. And me and the other chick that I was staying with in Sacramento, and my wife, she did the whole thing with me. I mean, the whole thing. And I tried to leave her in the county jail, and I wrote her a letter, and I was like, I ain't gonna do that. I got too long. You know, just live your life. I love you, but you know, hit me as a friend. You know, correspond. You know, this is my first time. You know, my first time going to prison. 12 years with 85, and she wrote me a letter and cussed me out and sent me $400. And
Oh wow,
yeah, oh man, she rolled like a saddle. You know what I mean? And yeah.
that's what's up. That's what's up. So now, prison life. How old was you when you went?
Oh, so when I went, I was barely turning 22. Yeah, so I kind of went. Yeah, I was 21, and yup, my birthday was right after that, and I turned 20. Yup, and I got out almost 31. Yup, 31.
So you
And
spent mostly all of your real formative young adult life locked down.
exactly. And my oldest daughter from previous relationship, she was 2. Yup, she was 2, and so I missed her life. I missed
Yeah.
her life. So, but my wife was cool with my baby mama to the point to where my baby mama did the notary and she was allowed to bring my daughter. My
Oh,
wife
okay.
was. So yeah,
That's
she got cool with me. Yeah, and that's how I raised my daughter. And I raised her through jail, but the whole time she's still in Stockton, and the people that she's under is people I used to be under. So they're glorifying my old image to her, like your daddy was with the shit. Whoa, wow, girl, you just like your daddy, because she getting into little fights and stuff. So she's kind of tomboyish, you know, because she's around a lot of masculine women that's nowhere near. Oh my goodness, they're nowhere near feminine. They're probably on the turf right now. Can't make it up. You know what I mean? And yeah.
so what was that like? Like, so you said that was God. So in a sense, it sounds like you're grateful that you did get locked up.
Yeah, because when I remember I was telling you prior, when I used to be out, it got to a point where it became spiritual and God started talking to me. I'd be trying to walk home at night and and I could feel it was real spiritual. Like I could feel death on me. And it was like it was heavy. And everybody that's glorifying, they would never help me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm only good for clout. You know what I mean? And I didn't fully recognize it at the time, but and so yeah, it was becoming more spiritual, more and more spiritual. So I knew it was wrong. And I didn't know how to get out of it though. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know
Yeah.
how to get out of it. Everybody's mentality is the same. So it was like I almost felt like it was no getting away from it.
It's
You know what I
trapped.
mean? But yet I wanted to change. I was a good dude. And when I would go to jail, like in juvenile and stuff, me and the Crips would be cool. We was cool. And they'd be like, oh man, like, damn, man, like, and you cool as hell, Trell. Like now I get to talk to you and shit. Like, damn, you know, and that's when I start realizing I'm like, man, half of these problems ain't my problems. These are the problems of the dudes that I'm around, right? But I'm seeing I can get along with anybody and we could be getting some money, you know, and you know, we could be making music together. We can be, you know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And
So
yeah,
what would you have needed, you think? Like, look at hindsight, right? Hindsight,
yeah.
we look back. When I was growing up, if I had this or this was a resource, I wouldn't have done what I did. What do you think was missing?
Um, it's tricky, right? Because the best thing that we had, grandmother's house, I mean, she got when I say this is a big house, they had a payphone in the garage in a 4-car garage, right? This is a you know, we live in, right? Deep freezers with big drums of ice cream, you name it, like we live in.
Yeah.
But the best things wasn't being promoted as cool, as right. They were almost like, man, that's for boosie people. You know what I'm saying? We black, you know, this is how we do it. And I'm just being honest, I was just too young to know what good and bad was. Like I couldn't decipher it right. You know what I'm saying? My mentality was just too off, you know, and
So
yeah.
do you think, let's say grandma put you in sports, do you think if you would have been in sports, you would have been different? If you know, like, what do you think is missing, was missing
I
from your
played
child?
sports. No, I did the typical thing. Actually, I forgot to bring this up. I played sports in 5th grade. Before I got to Stockton, I'm on the basketball team. I scored like 30 something points. I'm out there I'm kicking ass like a soccer
Mhm.
print on. And I tried to sign up for the Tracy Raiders, and they end up cutting me off the team, and that's what did it. And when I say I cried, I cried. I was hurt. I was hurt. I watched all football games. I got jerseys, you name it. I know the stats. Like I was a sports fanatic, and I did that. And as soon as I got cut, and I begged that man, like, please put me on the team. Like, man, like, I knew it too. I knew it. I was like, man, this is my last hope. This is my because I'm ready to go. I'm older now, and
Yeah.
even in the 5th grade, I was like, I knew I was like, I was ready to go from grandmother's house. I'm like, I ain't got no purpose out here. And then I was getting made fun of because of that. And so I was like, yeah, I went to mom's, and yup, and it was on from there.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so now when you locked up, you said you got your GED. Did you learn a trade? Did you do how did you utilize your time while locked up?
Oh, I was very active at first. My first day from the county jail to prison, I caught the dude that shot my mama house up. So I kung fu'd him up, Tai Chi, everything. I caught him, and I went to the hole for 30 days, got out the hole, I got him again. And and then I went to the shoe program, and that was from a reception center. Then they sent me to the shoe program in Tehachapi, California. And so I'm in isolation. That's like the hole, and I stayed in there for a year. So as soon as I got to prison, it was like no TV, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have nothing. My girl.
You was in solitary confinement for a year. Is that what you
Yes,
saying?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. California prison, the shoe program. Like, you can go outside. They got cage yard. They got like a TV in the day room that you can kind of see it depending on where your cell at from the crack of your door or whatever, or your window. And you can get a TV too, but it was at the season where my wife, she was getting her momentum going. Their mom died, and and I needed support from her. That's who I was really more so in contact with. So I was excluded from everything. Like, we just wasn't financially stable at that in particular moment. But it was cool. That's what helped me. And I read books. I worked out. I'm super beast on swole, you name it. And but I was able to channel into myself, and I was around a lot of dudes, and I was seeing they wasn't shit. Excuse me, they wasn't nothing. These the LA guys and other guys, even dudes that been down hella long, and it was all cap. You know what I'm saying? When you really get to know him, you like, oh, okay, this dude's a character. I got more heart than him. I got more brains than him. I ain't a circus monkey. A lot of the dudes were circus monkeys, and I seen that. And certain OGs seen it, and they would chop game with me. Like, if they see that you a certain type of individual, they gonna embrace you more. And these are the good guys. These are the guys that's telling you, like, when you get out, let a motherfucker call you a bitch, and just walk away. As long as they don't put their hands on you, family. You feel me? And get your family and your kids, stop supporting me. Like, and I was able to get good advice, but I already felt that way at the time. But I'm like, I changed within the first year of being locked up, but you still got 11.
Wait. We're not going to just glaze over like you didn't say somebody shot your mother's house up.
Oh yeah.
For you, and then shot up your mom's house?
Yeah, they shot through the house probably about 40 times. My 2 little sisters, they was in the living room. And they was in the living room. My mom was in the room, and it was due to stuff we had going on to the streets. And yeah, they pulled up and shot it up, and it's a vice versa effect though. And police is looking for me now. They talking about 3 other houses that got shot up and all this and that and the third. And yeah, it was war. It was war. And at the time, I was probably 18 at that time. Yup. And everybody, they love you for your clout, but they don't come and help you. They don't come and help you. And yeah, and me and my homies starting to fall out over females and stupid stuff. So a lot of stuff was actually changing at that time. But yeah, mom's house got hit up, and
nobody was hurt or anything though, right?
No. God bless, everybody was okay. And but yeah, it definitely happened. It was a close call.
So then when you get locked up, you see the dude who actually did it.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to put this in. My mom moved to the enemy's hood. We was funking with 6th Street, and she moved to 5th and Lincoln. It was on like Pay PG&E, and they used to pull up in the car, honk the horn, had a K, yeah, because they see me peeking out the window. I'm like, shit, and I gotta walk. I used to walk back to the turf. I was a late bloomer on driving, so I would still have to walk to my part of the South Side, and it was bad. I was in juvenile, and she got that spot, and then she wasn't really conscious. And I told her, I'm like, she like, yeah, I moved to 5th and Lincoln. I'm like, why'd you do that? It was, it was that kind of story. Yep. And yeah, which I forgot what you said about prison.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, okay. So now you're in prison. So you did solitary confinement for a year.
Yeah.
Now you come out of solitary confinement. What are you doing now? Like you got your GED. And
no, the GED came at the last 2 years, because I was an active blood. So as soon as I got out the shoe, I get to New Folsom Prison, and this is a notorious prison in California. I'm at the highest peak. I'm on level 4, 180, and so that's the I'm with lifers. I'm with all the lifers. And not only that, I'm really one of the bloods that don't mind going to the hole. I roll out, pack up my stuff. If I hear something going on, I get a certain kite, something going on in the yard, I'm gonna pack up my whole cell. I'm ready to go. Because I'm we gonna ride, we gonna slide for. Because if you don't participate, then the guys is gonna get you. That's how it go. It's like some real mob business. And so my mentality still had to be as a warrior. But when I got to New Folsom from the shoe, it was on a 2-month lockdown because of the blacks, and the blacks jumped on the Bay Area guys. I mean, excuse me, the Mexicans jumped on the Bay Area guys. So it was a race riot. And so, yeah, I got there. And when I got to New Folsom, it was 2 months of being on lockdown. So I couldn't go to canteen, nothing. You know what I mean? And yeah, you getting escorted to the showers, all that, so there was no movement. So, but it kept me contained, and I would like it to be by myself. I was actually cool though. It made me more mellow. I learned to be quiet. Everybody ain't your friend. I start realizing what I was around. It just wasn't cool, even in there. It was the same thing like the streets, because these dudes got to stay. So they're going to manipulate as many people as they can to serve their purpose and make they permanent stay comfortable through us that get to go home. Yeah.
Oh, so you basically were still active your entire bid.
Yeah, so I dropped out. No, I dropped out and went to the other side at the end because I just grew the courage to kind of just be on dude. But when you go to the other side, it's not looked at as bad like people think, because there's a lot of dudes where they trying to they got to go to board, and they like, look, as long as you stay on this active yard, you're an active gang member, so we're not letting you go. So you're gonna have to drop out. And dropping out is like a big thing in California. Like, our prison system is different than out of states for sure. We got the most politics. It's political, but yeah, it became real political. A lot of the guys in there, we would have clashes like with each other. Like, you're not gonna see the Bloods and Crips really get into it, or the blacks and the whites, and nothing. Like, on a level 4 is crucial because people are gonna die, guaranteed 100%. And so we would get into it with each other. So the Bloods will be on the Bloods, like the LA Bloods. They have their table over here, and the up north Bloods, we over here with the Sacramento guys, and the rest of us. And so it was always kind of like a form of tension. And I was seeing like, yeah, this don't work for me. You know what I'm saying? But it took me time to get to that point, because my mentality was changing. My life,
though, to be on high alert, like
it was all trauma.
Was 7.
And see, this is the thing we're forgetting. You got the woman that love you, that comes see you at the visits, that make sure you get the canteen, make sure you get the packages, make sure that you got a plan when we get out, that, you're going to be stable-minded enough to be yourself, and not a people pleaser, and, and serve the relationship through God. We would talk about the relationship, and it needed to be served through God. You know what I mean? And so that was a big reason, because she gave me so much comfort. She gave me more comfort versus than the Bloods. So that was putting in my mind, like, man, this is what I need to be focusing on. You know what I'm saying? Let alone just myself. I like myself. I don't really get into it with people. It's just politics that's making me serve the devil and be evil and do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. So the last 2 years that's when you said, I'm done. I'm about to go get this GED. Because I'm trying to make board. I want to get out of here. So, like, what was your mindset in that like the day that you decided that this was it, that I'm crossing over, or I'm getting out of this? What happened? Was there a situation, or?
Oh, absolutely. We was getting into it with each other, and they'll try to figure out a way to do you, and then as soon as they try to put anything on your name, you on a chopping block. You know what I'm saying? You can't beat everybody. You know what I mean? And we was getting into it. I knocked out the head of the Pyrus, on 1 yard. It was, it was a lot of stuff. But they actually tried to use the stuff from when my brother got shot, all that, and literally from when I was 12. And but it was a slew of other reasons that was the real form of, like, we had a war going on between each other, because in prison you got what's called a United Blood Nation. That's a prison gang for the Bloods that gotta be there. So you serve them. Your hood on the street don't even matter. These for the guys that's in prison. And then we got another fraction called Bloodline, 212s. That's the second letter and the 12th letter. And that's when my birthday is too. So them dudes just try to recruit me, but I wouldn't fall for it. That's called getting hooked up. And I wouldn't get hooked up. I'm loyal to who I was loyal to from the streets. And so we get into it a lot. And I went through a slew of things, but it was perfect timing. It was perfect timing because I was already on some stuff where I'm like, man, I don't care about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to move out of state when I get out. Like, I was already hearing other dudes' stories that was doing that, and a lot of us actually felt that way. You know what I mean? Yup. And so when I did it, and I went to the other side, it was the best thing I could have did because I was always doing my schoolwork and stuff like that, but we was politicking. Plus you got to go collect your money because I'm hustling, to survive. I was paying bills for my wife when I was in prison. I was sending a whole lot of money, and I used to hustle, and a gram of weed in prison, a $10 sack cost $200 in there. And yeah, I would get an ounce on Saturday and Sunday. I'd get a half and then a half. Saturday, I get a half, and then Sunday, I get a half. So if you add 28 grams up, for 150, 200 a gram, I mean, you do the math, you're going to make some money. Right. And, but we end up having a race riot. And right before I actually switched over, we had a race riot, and it was a dude that was down. You can look him up on the internet. He was part of the San Quentin Six. He was with George Jackson and them. They built the Black Guerrilla family, the BGF. And and I was on the yard with the guy and Yogi, Hugo Peniel, and the whites, but he killed COs and stuff too. So they tried to get him shipped to a PC yard and drop fake kites on him, and he wouldn't go. And the man is at the time he died, he was 73. And he was a real old man. He was a Cuban. Yeah, he was really Cuban. And he was a beast though, like in his younger days. And so when he got to the yard, it was we basically had a race riot. They killed him right in front of my eyes. And one of theirs died too in that riot, but they had it planned. The police was in on it. Like, you could literally look it up on the internet. I was full-fledged in that riot. I got my write-up in my stuff right now for me. And so I switched to a different prison where I couldn't make money at. It was different. They sent me way damn near by Mexico, just way down Southern California. And so now I don't get to get them visits like that. And it was different. The atmosphere is different. Now we in the LA guys' backyard, and they, it's people gonna be who they gonna be. Because at first I was in our backyard in Northern California. And so, but once I switched from a different prison, it actually switched my mentality, because now I had to just deal with myself. I ain't getting big canteen. I ain't sending money home. I ain't got no cell phones. I'm so far, my wife can't get to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it was different, but it was cool. And I ended up, it just got to a point where I was like, plus everything was on the table. But one of my boys came and hollered at me. He was like, bro, it's time to go. These niggas on some shady shit too. And I just really, I needed anything as an excuse. And I took it. And that saved my life. It actually saved my life. And I don't knock it one bit. I don't regret nothing. It saved my life. So
now you come home.
Yeah.
What was that adjustment like? I know that had to be like psychologically crazy, like anxiety, because you've been in this place for 10 years, being told when to get up, when to go eat, when to do this stuff, watching your back, and now you in this free open world. What was that transition like?
All right, I'm gonna tell you. So I didn't got married. We got married at the end. Like, it would always be something that would block us from getting married, but we thugged it out the whole time. And we manifested my son for like 9 years. We would like say his name, his nickname, Pooh Man, and be like, yeah, watch, Pooh Man gonna be running around the house when I get out. Watch, we gonna be doing this. Like, he was already there. This was 9 years before he even popped up. I have the letters. So we manifested a baby. And I started, when we got married, immediate conjugal visits, mandatory. And I was getting them every 3 months. And I got back closer towards Fresno where she could get to me. And it wasn't so hard. And we had the baby and everything. I'm on a different yard. I'm on the other side now. So now I'm not really active. I'm just, I'm doing me. I'm content. I didn't holler at dudes from the hood. They knew, you know what I'm saying? And once I got out, so I have every reason to change. I have every reason to give praise to God. I was blessed. A lot of dudes wasn't, they wasn't doing it like that. I was blessed. And that's when the curse came back from my brother. And they was smutting me because they seen when I dropped out in prison, They was like, oh yeah, he ain't no good no more. Fuck this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Plus this nigga on, look at this shit with his brother. Woo wop. I'm like, you niggas was right there. You feel me? And then it was other dudes that I knew they secrets from gangs, from the gang banging, and they had shit going on when they was young and never
Yeah.
got politic for it because they family is a certain crowd. So, and it's a lot of that. Don't ever think that like when they say the rules, all that shit, for sure with blacks in California, they break them. For sure, them rules is made to be broken. Just like the mafia. You see all that shit, it's the same thing. And so they politic me. So now I'm in Sac. Me and my wife, we got an apartment. My mind is on just trying to live. I'm the best version of who I could be. I bring up God like none other. I want to work. I want to learn to work. I want to learn how to get a credit score.
Yeah.
All the stuff. And people was coming to my house, and so instead of my family helping me, they helped them because my problem was too big. So they sided with the enemy and made up all kind of shit on my name to basically as a system of abandonment, to be like, we ain't got nothing to do with that. These niggas got K's at my windows, all that. And the first time I had to really go against my natural nature, now I can't be hyphy. I can't be the killer. I'm on parole. I done
Yeah.
just did all this time. If I get into a shootout and there's any gun residue in this house, just even defending myself, I'm going to beat the violent part, far as hitting somebody and killing somebody, but the gun charge alone is going to give me 30 years with my record. So I had to make a decision. I called 911. And I'm like,
You're a civilian now, right? So you can
I'm
do
surrounded. Listen, I'm surrounded. Called my older brother. My brother, he was acting weird the whole time I was out. My older brother, and we used to always bump heads because he would try to like yell the hood to people, but he never hung out with us. Like he was never on the block really with us. He stayed in Utah with my dad for a minute, but he was still like acting like the one that got shot. He was still acting like a super blood. But the real truth was, I'm the guy. You're going off my cloud, nigga. My brother Trell, like, and I'm really there though. You're gonna see me 9th and Phelps, Jew Block, all that. Everybody around town know me. Plus, I was rapping. I'm on certain songs and shit like that, and so I already had the reputation. But when I got out, yeah, it was like I come to find out. I just found out my people's is narcissists, like that real shit. This is like, and they abandoned me because of once I lost my clout, everybody abandoned me. And I call him, I lock my keys in the car. I'm like, nigga, you right around the corner. You right around the corner. These niggas is out my windows, cocking the Glocks, everything. I'm there by myself, but I was set up. They was following me all that night, and PTSD start kicking in. So now powder costed too much. I didn't even want to do drugs. I used to get high and cry, but I had to do it to stay up. When I say they was on me so bad, it was like, but I knew this was all God.
Yeah.
This is the best thing I actually could have went through, because any other time I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna do my thing, right? Like they had so much fear of me, that's why they came the way they initially came as well. But and I just stuck to my mindset. I'm like, nope, I changed. I dropped out in prison. I left. Hell yeah, I don't feel ashamed. This is my life. You guys ain't bringing shit to my life that's gonna help me. You know what I'm saying? My wife, she's down with me. And I abandoned the whole idea, everything. And so everybody in the family that I thought I was close with, in their own ways, they showed that they was against me. And they literally, the whole hood, the old hood, now they want to be under them and they're helping them. You can't make it up. Can't make it up. That's
Do you know how much strength it takes for you to go against what you know and then to stand on that ledge by yourself? You know how much strength and faith in God that took on your part to be able to do that and to stand 10 toes down with it? That's
yep.
big.
No, I'm gonna tell you, I made up a phrase in prison, no cap. And I was lonely by the crowd and I was crowded by myself. And then because I'm a rapper, I do metaphors and stuff. I even speak metaphorically a lot. I'm dumbing it down because we on the show. But I also put a thought in my head and I was like, man, if God's making a new Bible, because this world's going to end again, my story's going to be in it. How do I want it to go? Am I going to be like a David? What's going to be? And I was like, man, my story's like Joseph, because I was sold out the same way. I mean, everybody went against me, everybody, and then played in my face like I was a problem. And then on top of that, I started digging into drugs, like getting high because I was scared to go to sleep. And I get another nice spot. Me and my wife, like it'll stop for a little bit, but when I say it was like on, it was on. And so, and I just was content. I turned to like a Charleston White. I don't care. I don't give a shit. because I know all the secrets, all the stuff in the hood. I'm like, man, it's bogus. The same dudes that's talking about me, you can go look them up, documents and all. And you know what I'm saying? So you contradict everything that you believe
So
in.
so now, you and your wife, are you still in the same area where you grew up in, or you moved away from
No,
that?
we moved to Sacramento. That's where I'm at right now. I'm in Sacramento right now. And we moved to Sacramento, but it's right down the street from Stockton. Plus the gangs, like they got the younger dudes now, so they got these little cliques. And so our cliques from out here and out there, they click up together. You know what I'm saying? So you can go to Sacramento, even though you're away from Stockton, but you still gonna be dealing with, like, it's political. It's just flat out political. And my wife, our relationship, we didn't have problems. We didn't have problems, to be honest. I had a hint of insecurities because I wasn't the best version of stuff I was seeing, like, on the internet and all that.
Yeah.
And but she always loved me, right? But we started having problems because I had to learn that she was problem avoidant. And when all this stuff was going on, she was kind of backing away from me to stay safe. And then her people were judging me too. Because I used to be around her peoples, her brother-in-law's from New Orleans, but he used to be around us. He probably out there in the hood in Stockton right now. And her cousins and all them too is from our hood. And so when everybody was going against, a lot of people still love me though. Like they see me, I'm out in Stockton every week. Can't make this up. And they
So you
see me
don't
in
have no
the
problems
hood.
or anything.
Huh?
You have no problems from your past life right now in your current life, like with
Of
people
course.
looking for you or.
No, no, this is true, of course, right now. But the thing of it is, God power work, and part of my story, I had to crack the metaphor. It was for me to sit in a place where where everything's going against me, but you can survive. You have to walk by faith and not by sight.
That's right.
But even like my family, like right now, nobody don't want to be accountable that they was helping them people because they were screaming free Trell right before them people came to my house. They were screaming free Trell while I was down, all that. You know what I'm saying? When they talk to people, my name is what's going to probably come up like, oh yeah, Trell, my people. My clout helped them have relationships with a lot of other people as well, that the known names in the street and
Yeah.
stuff. So I
So
just
let me ask you this, Trell. So now you home. Your daughter is how old when you get home?
she's 12.
Okay. What's that relationship look like?
Um that relationship is very tricky because her grandma is from our hood. She's a blood from our hood too.
The
And her,
grandmother's blood?
yeah, her grandma on her mom's side. It's really her mom's stepmom, but that's
Okay.
who raised her. You know,
Okay.
and she lived with her, and the dad, or even her blood dad, was like, he done moved or whatever, but she stayed with her stepmom, and she literally raised her. And this chick done been the chachilla to the women's prison. She sell dope, got cases, you name it. She on some hood stuff. She want to, she follow the culture, you know. And so she's being raised under that. My daughter's mom became a prostitute, and she on Red Book, the usual. And so now my daughter's mentality is naturally she's just built naturally masculine, really. You know what I'm saying? She's they overlap, they won't allow them to be kids. You know what I mean? Because yeah, they got to serve for a certain purpose. And so now my daughter and us, we was real cool. As soon as I got out the first day, she just broke down crying. As soon as she seen me, like we both did, we was good. But when the dudes start coming and I had to like be humble and not fight back because it was gonna be too much. As soon as I get some get back, I'm gonna really pay for it. Or my wife or my kids while we in the car, we gonna die.
Yeah,
The
no.
and then this is so my daughter basically got to see me get emasculated. They would have gang stalks. They was gang stalking me. They had her in their car, her mama and them. You can't make it up. Everybody served the enemy. They sided with the enemy. Everybody went against me. Everybody went against. When I say it's not a lie. And I didn't have nowhere to go. On my dad's side, them people, they ain't cool. Their mentality ain't good. Y'all, it was rotten, right? That's why I ended up staying in SAC. I don't have a credit score. Because I would get jobs and I couldn't keep them. I'm getting cool jobs, but the niggas is coming to the jobs. It was real. So I've been the guy, but the biggest blessing about this is I literally help people to get out of gangs by sticking around. And people got to see it. And then a lot of people that knew me, they like, dude is not soft, fam. This dude, he's taking accountability. Like, all right, I don't need to be in the gang. I fell out, whatever, that's cool.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, I didn't have nowhere to go. So now I'm stuck in family relationships with people I know 100% is trying to kill me. 100%. The closest are the closest.
That's
And
crazy.
it's rotten, right? Because right now to this day, if they was to get in something, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ride with you to the end. I love you beyond politics. And these people wanting to know other politics. So I'm like, why would you hate me now? You know, you act like you've been politicking up, you know, and it was really just giving in to the enemy. And I had to learn. I had to really truly learn. Some people, they love me, but they was just tucking their tail to the enemy. And then when the smoke cleared, like, it ain't even a sorry, just act like it ain't happened, but I love you, I help you. You know, but this
So
will be the shit.
so your daughter, so she's in that life. Is she blood, or is she in
Nah,
a
you know
gang?
what? She was like sympathizing with it. They got some known rappers like my daughter's mom. Her other kid's dad is from a hood down the street from ours, but you probably heard of these dudes. It's a little rap group that comes from his hood called EBK, EBK J-Bo, EBK Young Jock. You can look them up. They like real big right now. Like they don't know Jumper, all that. And she was around them, so plus she was hearing the stories about me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I had a cold reputation. I was really one of the guys. And so yeah, I think she, you know, and her mom and them, it's just the influence. Her mom was around a lot of prostitutes. The grandma and them, it's being in and my Uncle Leonard got out of prison and he has a baby by my baby mama's grandma. Yeah, yeah. I forgot that part. Yeah, and yeah, and
Oh gosh, I
so
don't
he's
mean to
big blood.
laugh.
So he's around. He get drunk. He's one of the guys that like. He's a cool dude, but he'll get drunk and he fight. He gonna shoot all that. Like you know, you gonna mess the party up. And so she was around a lot of this, and she's influenced because on both sides of the family they still embracing it. And then her daddy looked weak as hell because they had carloads, gang star. I didn't have nowhere to go. I had to go to the mental hospital. Literally, I had to tell a lie and say, "Hey, I'm gonna kill myself." You know, and then I was inebriated at the times because I was scared to go to sleep. It was real intense. Like it was like they was really trying. But the enemy, I think the enemy was the enemy. It was family members that was trying the hardest. Seriously, just
And
so they
for
felt,
what though? Like what? Like
because when you got something against you like that, instead of them being like, nigga, that's my people. Y'all tripping over him over some shit when he was 12 that y'all ain't never tripped on but knew. Like it wasn't nothing, but everybody else was getting chances, like real shit, right? On politics, right? And so it was just I had to learn to forgive because it's really just you don't know how to deal with the enemy.
mhm.
I'm the one that's kind of more chosen to where I'm like, shit, you know, if I have an inch of help, it's on. You feel me? But God showed me how to fight without doing my old fight. It's a spiritual thing, and I
It's
felt like I was
different.
kind of chosen, and
Yep,
he broke my image to fix my soul.
yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So now, okay, so I wanna kind of stay on your daughter for a second.
Yeah,
So her grandmother is in a gang.
yeah.
Her mom is prostituting. Um, what is
Oh,
she doing though? Like, what is your daughter about? Like, I know you said she's like kind of have some masculine energy or whatever, but what is she doing with her life? Is she going to school? Is she just wilding
she's
out?
fighting.
Like,
She's going back to school tomorrow from being suspended. Her mom tries to block me, but I'm gonna tell you, my daughter got trauma. Her mom was going with a dude that was from the other side. He was a Crip, and I used to go to middle school with the guy, and he killed himself in front of my daughter at my baby mama's house in front of all the kids. He blew his brains out over another female because they had a baby from a prior relationship, and he found out the baby wasn't his. He couldn't get over it. It was like 2 years already went past. He couldn't get over it, and he killed himself, blew his brains right out on the couch. Boom. And my daughter
and
was
your
like,
daughter
Dad,
saw that?
huh?
Your daughter saw that happen?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. She had to help clean that blood up off that carpet and everything. And she was like, "Dad, I can smell the blood," you know. And I'm in prison, stuck. And I was started telling my baby mom, I'm like, you know, fam, like, you got to switch your mentality because when you do that, the dudes that you dating, it'd be different, but I knew what it was. I'm like, you didn't gave yourself out to too many dudes. Now you hitting the wall and you realizing it's only a certain type of dude that you could talk to because you're beyond dysfunctional and you can't get around no functional guy. And he's gonna see your dysfunction and what you truly believe in is gonna show. You're not introverted. You're around a lot of boozy women, these whores. They in panties and bras going to pajama parties. Yeah, we going to pajama party. Like, and my baby get to see this, and I'm locked up. And it's really one of them scenarios. I think my daughter's mom now she's a little bit better, but she still has a broken mentality. Like the other day, I tried to tell her, like, hey man, put me on the thing so I can, be able to go up there, to pick my daughter up from school, or if I need to bring something, on the list for the school. And she gets into fights, so I need to be able to pop up there and get my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, my daughter's still in the city or where I'm from, so that's where my main enemies is from, and I got PTSD out of this world. You can see my eye. I got naturally low eyes, but you can see I don't sleep good. I haven't slept good in probably like 3-4 years, and I get a lot of flashbacks, everything.
Sure.
And so my daughter's mentality, she's in like a survival mode. You know what I'm saying? But she's starting to find, like, I talked to her the other day when I talked to you, and she was like, Dad, I want to move with you. At least for like a year, and I was like, thank you. I'm like, yeah, come on, let's do it. Because I always had a spot and she could have had a room. My little son, he was small. He could have stayed in the room with us. You know what I mean? She could have took the other room. He had a 2-bedroom, but I was trying to get her. And I'm like, you got a shitload of enemies out there. It's practically mimicking the same lifestyle when I was a kid because I was gone, and I take full responsibility. Yeah. But so now she's kind of on the brink of wanting to do it, and she wants to change. She like, no, Dad, you right. And she like, man, like every time my uncle called me talking about my brother, she like, he's trying to get information and this and that. Yeah, when you're dealing with narcissists, they try to use your kids against you. They trying to make everybody go against you. That's what they do. Wow. Any address I'm at, my phone's gonna get hacked, everything. You name it. I went through it all. You name it. No cap. And I still have to be around. I have to forgive people. I couldn't keep a job. It was following me. I swear, because I had a name. So it was a lot of times it'll be a dude from another hood that's there, like, oh, this name, because they heard it. It's not even about the old shit. It's just like, oh, that's dude that called the police when them niggas try to get him. And that, that's what they use to break my old image. Yeah, like this. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be all that now. If I didn't fail back, if I'm a civilian now and I ain't bothered you, y'all done came into my space, nigga, expect it. And I'm proud of it. Now I'm proud of it because I know how to live. And if I was in politics still, it'd be different. We gonna come out and we gonna serve the devil, the way the devil like to serve. That's right. But I believe God and I fear God. So with that, I couldn't give and I teach my daughter the same thing, but her mentality is because she's seeing that what I'm going through, I'm looked at as an outcast, and she like, why would I want to be like him? But being humble, it's not that. It's just I'm stuck in my trauma place. But
yeah, but again, that's a whole different. Those are two different worlds. We know that, like the street world and the civilian world, two totally different things. And your daughter is used to people being aggressive. She's used to people.
Yeah, she wanted the version of what everybody's bragging about, and it taught me something. And I had to tell her, I said, Ari, when you're around people, I figured it out. It's going to be a certain version of you that they like, and you got to be that for the rest of your life as long as you got them relationships with them. And when you're around real people, they allow you to grow, and your seasons change. Exactly. Anything that doesn't grow is dead. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. And she's getting that concept now because it's stuff that affected her. You know what I mean? Some of the same stuff, it affected her. And
so how is your daughter's relationship with your current wife? Do they have a relationship?
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. It's dope, but it started to diminish because my daughter would get mad at me. And, it was a time she was like, fuck your wife too, that bitch. Yeah. That jive. And but she loves my wife. And truth be told, she loves my wife. My wife loves her. It's, probably more than me. You know what I mean? But and which is cool. I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? Whatever God's saying to her, but I'm definitely there for her. But I'm just like right now. That's why when I talk to you, and this is still on track with my daughter, but when I talk to you, because I found out I was raised to be a Pookie and a Ray Ray when I was time for me to change to the better me.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to support it. So that's what people wanted me to be. And I figured it out. I'm like, oh, God got to give me a crowd. I start learning. I start watching videos. Videos became my best friend. And I went through spiritual stuff. I would read my Bible, but I've been through more spiritually that connected me to God versus than just reading the scriptures. Actually, my story is like a lot of the stories in there. And I'm like, oh, I know I'm chosen for something.
That's
And
what it is. See, all of those people that read the Bible and can quote all of this scripture and all of that stuff, that's a beautiful thing. But true people who are anointed by God we're touched directly by God. You
right.
understand what I'm saying? Our life shows like, yo, I shouldn't even be here right now.
But
But
look, Nariah, I don't want to cut you. It's certain parts I forgot that's juicy. My dad died a year before I get out. That was my best friend. When I say he loved me, he was pumped when I had my daughter. He would pop up from Utah. He was staying in Utah. He would go see my daughter. I'm going to see my grandbaby. You know what I mean? He was the shit fresh out the back of the bitch, straight out. You know what I mean? And awesome guy, right? And he would tell me, he would be like, look, son, I need you to fall back. He was a diabetic, and now I'm a diabetic. I'm dealing with diabetes too, and it made it worse because of PTSD. I was really like living off my wife had to support the bills. I couldn't keep a job, but I'm a great dude. I can change people's life within a conversation. I can give them energy to be like, man, you know what? You're right, man. I ain't about to be a slave of the crowd, man. Like, you know what I mean? I want to live regular. But it was PTSD, but it's all a part of the spiritual thing. And my dad died. Me and my mom relationship would be rocky. You know what I mean? It would be real rocky because my mom done been through a lot. And and yeah, it's a up and down. And when I got out and I was going through stuff, I feel like, I could have got more support, but I don't feel like my family knew what to do in that type of situation.
But how do they support you when, this is all they know? They don't know how to, we as a people don't know how to really give each other that type of support. You know what I'm saying? If this is our reality, this is where we live, and this is what we used to.
Yeah.
You went against the grain.
It's like that. Look, it's the people that are the crust of the pie, then you got the pie. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is in hood terms, like I'm the guy that's really in the midst of the stuff that brings the flavor, and they on the outskirts kind of it. Like they're around it, but the certain stuff that I'm truly actually dealing with will really be in 10 toes and actually being a solidified gang member. It, is going to be different. So I know how to deal with pressure for my people and the ones that I love in a different way than people do, as far as on the physical aspect. And it's a mental thing too, and yeah, it's just, I'm built different. It was times when I was younger and they'd be like, man, what's his name on paperwork? And I'm like, what they talking about? And they like, man, some shit from when it was a similar situation, like some shit when he was 11. I said, nigga, nigga, fuck you, nigga, that's some kid shit. You feel me? You niggas don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the moral of what I'm saying is I knew how to love people in a way that just locks in. Like politics couldn't even break it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this the folks, like, you tripping. Damn, like, we all people's like, y'all ain't really politicking like that. You mad at him about knocking your girlfriend like a front door. And, and he, you know what I mean? And it's over girlfriend. I mean, we all know she ain't shit like a constipated bunghole. Let's just be real. Everybody in the had her. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Sorry. And
I'm getting a kick out of them. I'm
from Northern California, but no, and a lot of times that's what it is. So the way I love people is very different. It's very different. And I learned that even in the Bible, because it would be people getting ridiculed about stuff. Instead of going against them, you help them. That's how God blesses you. The life you live is an audition to be an angel or a demon. You just choose one.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And that's how it goes. And I tell my daughter that.
And we fight in spirits and principalities. People think that it's just the physical person. It's not carnal. It is all spiritual. You know what I'm saying? So let me ask you this. Well, let me just touch back to your daughter real quick. Anything that you think she needs that I may be able to help her with, you just let me know.
Absolutely.
You let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sitting here behind this camera now, and I'm on interviews, but I was I was about that life for
Right.
real. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
like you, I got through things. The Most High brought me through so many things so that I could be relatable, you know, because it gets to a point that where it's like, yo, I'm going through all of this stuff. Like, what is my purpose? Like, why am I here? Like, what's up? And then once the smoke clears, I realized I'm here to serve, right?
Right.
So not too many things that any woman walking has been through that I can't say, yeah, I kind of checked that box. So I can relate to this is why I don't judge people. This is why I hold women accountable because I know a lot of things that I've done put me in them situations. So
Yeah.
I'm able to be accountable and say, yeah, if I would
Exactly.
have listened, then this wouldn't have happened. So long story short, anything as far as mentoring, coaching, guiding, any of that stuff. I am
Absolutely.
here because what we need to do is support our young women, give them that spiritual foundation from a perspective where it's not like we Bible beaten and it's fire and brimstone. And if you don't do this, God, nah, you know, she may have a purpose too. Nobody,
No, she does.
accident.
You know, the thing, I just talked to her and she wants to change now. Um, but she doesn't know about delayed gratification. And I try to explain that to her. In the way when God does what he does for you, it's not your plan. You know what I mean? And she wants the instant gratification. I'm like, look, Ari, you know, like how it goes. Now I'm gonna make sacrifices for you. I'm planning on actually moving out of state and putting myself in a better environment. I'm trying to get my money and, you know, I'm trying to, you know, just stick it out because PTSD is a real thing.
Are
And
you getting counseling or therapy for that? That's what I wanted to ask you.
I did all that. They told me, they said, fam, you could be a counselor. They said the problem is you staying in your trauma spot. And she it was like, but I understand you don't have nobody, you know, and my wife, she probably my biggest resources, you know, but I stayed because of her. And she
Yeah,
was kind of pushing away from me. And she has an avoidant personality disorder kind of to our thing. And I had to come to learn that. And the more she's getting lately, she got more benefit out of her sisters and her sisters' advice. You know what I mean? And so it was kind of pushing away from me. And I'm like, how you gonna, you know,
that's
that's
very dangerous for
right.
your
And I've
relationship.
just barely come to a system to where I had to accept I'm codependent because I don't have all my stuff together. And I was telling my
Because what
daughter,
you're doing is you clinging on to somebody who you feel safe with that and to you have they stuff together and that's where you want to be. That's what you want to achieve. So yeah, you're gonna cling to that.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And y'all just need to figure out how to work through that. That being with a man who's been in prison, she took on a responsibility.
right.
You
I,
know,
I always told her, I said, you know, before I left, I said, hey, look, everything's going to change once I get out because you know
yeah,
my name. You know, let's be real. I'm not afraid. I have a power beyond anybody, but yet I'm in Stockton every week. I see some of the same dudes that had came to try to get me. And we had to have a conversation like, look, it's just business. We came. Now I love you. You gave me a hug. You know, you went through what you went through. I just, you know, it is what it is. Because it's politics, right?
yeah,
You know, an aspect of it. But and even with my family, I try to forgive people, but you know,
you
I'm
have
still
to.
traumatized. I've been taunted, I've been all everything. But my
But
daughter too, she's
gotta
saying,
gotta forgive, bro, because we can't ask for forgiveness and expect to get it. If you cannot, it tells us in scripture, do not even pray or do anything and ask forgiveness if you got anything against your
right,
brother. So
right.
you have to find a way to get your own closure with that.
No, this is the discrepancy we just had. So my daughter, she's ready to come, but me and my wife about 7 months ago split up. And
Mm,
and I was working a new job. I just wanted to get some sleep. She kept waking me up. We ended up getting into a big argument, broke our lease, everything. But she was on the lease and they had to put me on second. Just the way they did everything, like the information when we first signed up, they put her more so because it was more of her money, you know. And
mm,
I had barely got a good job, was paying $20 an hour. And yeah, so it was like more of her stuff. And they was like, all right, we're gonna put you on the lease, your name on the lease next month. We get into an argument, man. She broke that lease. And now, so I'm at my mom's house right now. We're barely about to get a new spot. I am the real ideal of somebody in the process. I'm not one of these dudes that's on here talking like a finished product. this is a blessing probably for a lot of people to see it, because this is the truth. And it's a lot of people that got this going. And I explained to my daughter, I said, the biggest sacrifice I'm gonna do is break away from all this that affects me, and I got you, right? But you can come right now in the middle of the process. And she's ready. So we, as soon as we get the new spot, she'll be out here with me. But my goal is to get out of state. You know, I wanted to go to like Texas or something and get out of state, and because we have a good relationship. And I was running, like, I even almost started my own business, but I had to stop because, you know, dudes was hating. I was selling crawfish boil to the cannabis clubs, and I grew a following. You can't make it up. I had to quit my job because I was getting orders literally, and I just like made my own little thing or whatever, and I went off of it. And so my daughter seen it, so I was like, okay, once I get situated, I'm gonna get your cookers, and we're gonna do that. She does hair right now, though. She actually makes money. Okay. And she's about to be 17. She's 16. She's about to be 17. But I told her, I said, that could be like our family business. And it works every time, because my wife is from New Orleans, so I was always eating it. I'd be sitting outside. People be like, oh, what you got? And we in California, so it's not fluent. And they seeing big old shrimps and sausage and, you know, potatoes and all that. And I'm like, hey, man, light bulb moment, ding. I start doing pots.
So what are you doing now? So are you working right now? Like,
right now, working for a store right now, just, you know, regular schmegular job.
No matter.
I didn't get a career because I was trying to work on it, and I had a goal. I wanted to get into construction when I first got out, but the devil came at me immediately as soon as I got out. Yeah. So I didn't get to get the trade. I didn't get to, you know what I'm saying? And I had to pray to God to be like, man, what am I good for? You know, how am I going to do this? But I typically keep a job. It's just the hate is real. You know, that's the only thing. But I typically keep something going on. You know what I mean? But I had to learn the mental health aspect of everything too.
So you know, what is it that you would like to do? You would like to start your cooking thing? Like, is cooking what you really, really want to do? Is that your goal?
No, whatever comes, and it just becomes a product of demand. And if it's reachable for me to do, I'll do it. So I'm the type that I see anything and I can be like, oh, I could do this with it. I could do that. I have a creative mind. And but I'm going to use that as one of my things. I was going to take up trucking, but it ain't really too hot. But yeah, typically I'm gonna work to start a business. I'm not trying to work just to live. I want to start a business. I already talked to City Hall and everything just to find the zone where I could be at with propane and everything like that, because the business was booming. It was, you know, it was booming, and it was a cool thing, but I had to stop. You know, I had dudes trying to pop up and be sneaky, and it's California. You know, it's California, and unfortunately, I put myself in this position from when I was young, and these are the side effects of still being reachable. You know what I mean? But still wanting to serve God and still wanting to be a father and a husband.
So how are you using your experiences for good to make sure nobody else knows what
you say what now?
How are you using your experiences? Do you have
no.
Okay. How are you using your experiences that you've been through?
Oh, basically to walk by faith and not by sights. Don't make too much plans. When you go through things, if you believe in God, if you believe in a higher power, that's what's really gonna help you. Nothing else really helped me. You know what I mean? And because I'm in the middle of it still. But now I can walk around gracefully. The PTSD went way down, but like it still has its natural after effects to no sleep and whatever. But I basically tell people that position yourself in a place to where you can beat your trauma. If you know what your trauma is, if you understand how you want to live, position yourself, get away from what you know and get familiar with the new you. You know what I mean? And don't be afraid to be your own person. And also, you know, the crowd is not really cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be real. Don't be a slave of the crowd. You know, get around positive things, get around things that don't have negative outcomes to it. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta kill nobody. You ain't gotta sell no dope. You ain't gotta do none of that. You can live regular. Because a lot of the dudes in the hood, they want to leave, but they don't know how to. The girls, the same thing. And then the people that we be in a race, like when you were raised around certain people, when you become conscious, don't sweep it to the side. Embrace the change. It's time to change. Put yourself around what you want to be. You know what I mean? Like for me right now, it literally got to a point where I'm like, okay, even if I had to leave my wife and just, I could do that right now, just for the betterment of her, myself first, well, God first, myself, then them. And it's okay. I had attachment issues. I had a lot of mental health from how I was raised and just everything. And now I understand. And but I'll tell people, position yourself. I tell these dudes out, as soon as I walk outside, people will see me, they be like, bro, that's my guy. I love him. They cry when they see me. You know what I'm saying? Because they know the story and the way I am with them. And now a lot of people are trying to embrace change. You know what I mean?
Did you ever think about starting a nonprofit?
Yeah, I was studying it when I was in prison. I would read a book here or there, use it from somebody or whatever. And I want to. I want to help with gangs and also relationships. I feel like relationships are very important. Listen, I was a fan of you when I seen that interview. I was like, oh, she is awesome. That's how I want my wife to be. Awesome. Like, and they don't know that the mentality makes beauty, right? And just a woman that really wants the relationship and understands the position. Like I watch stuff all the time. Shahrazad Ali, I'm on it. Like it was like my birthday when you reached out to me. I was like, oh, I was excited. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, look, this old girl. My wife was like, that is old girl you be watching. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, man, she want me on the show. Like, you don't understand. I already value you. Like you didn't, you hit a platform. And I was thinking, I said, man, she needs to show her husband. Who is this dude? You know what I'm saying? How could we be like these guys to get these women like this? Great stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
but somebody just put this in there for me. You see her?
Huh?
You see the question?
Oh, yeah. Does PTSD give you the habits that hinder you, keeping you aligned in God? It helped. Yep, it helped because it's spiritual. Because even when I'm not in a situation of physical war, you still feel the presence of evil. It taunts you all day. And so to counter it is God. Absolutely. It helps a lot of people, actually. Believe it or not, if you get it, it can connect you to God for sure. It did that with me. It really locked it in. And yeah.
Yeah. I think that when you reach a certain low, nowhere else to look but up, right? And then you just start trying to figure it out. Like, what am I supposed to do? How do I do that? And then when you at the most vulnerable, that's when he comes through and he's like, this is what I need to do. No, but I know that I'm super proud of you. Super proud. A lot.
You said what happened?
I said you've been through a lot of stuff.
I've been through more shit than a roll of toilet paper, but I felt like a piece of corn and I kept it solid. You know what I'm saying? And and no, it's real, right? It's real. And I'm proud of it, man. But I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, I can go buy some outfits, put on this and that, go get a fresh shave. Image is nothing. What's the soul of an image and what's the image of a soul? You know what I mean? And a lot.
So let's do this. Because like I told you before, I'm all about helping. Right now, I have started a nonprofit about 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
So I can help you. Kind of give you for God if you want that help.
Absolutely.
Like dead ass. I would do that and I would help you.
Let's go. I'm going to respond to anything you got going on. It's not about what you're just trying to give me because it's available. It's something that I want.
And I want to get that. You have more support than just your wife, so you can give her a break, right? Because she needs a break. So let me release some of that, give you the resources to do whatever it is that you want to do.
Right.
I got you.
I'm beyond thankful. I thank you like a million. I'm beyond thankful. This is absolutely something I want. I feel like it would help me and I can help others because that's the job. It's not really about me. I actually feel fixed. I ain't fully got like my full image back, but I actually, because of the lack of sleep sometime and, just the current situation what me and my wife just went through, but I'm not trying to use everything as some old victim mentality. But I definitely want the resources because I will do good with them and I will help other people as well. It's a passive forward movement, and that's what we want to do, and I stand with you on whatever you got going on. And yeah, I'm a same thing. I'm a passive forward, so absolutely.
Yep. That's our responsibility. Is to so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna
you say what now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could barely hear you. Sorry about that. You said what now?
You're in Sacramento.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So I'm gonna find out what's required and what you need. Roll that down to you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I got you.
Speaking of image, did you find a church community of any kind, or has your past and record made them keep you at the arm's length? No, it was a church that helped me. But it was, it was out of town or whatever. But I'm still kind of connected, but I'm not fully in it, at that in particular church. I'm actually trying to find one out here because I had just moved or whatever from initially where I was at. But it was a church that actually helped me when I was going through some stuff. And I was actually literally in the middle of getting chased down, getting gang stalked, no cap. And I went to the church. I got on my knees, put my arms and hands up, and they opened the door. The door got open, and they sent me to a like a drug place because I was inebriated at the time. Because I knew I was always being followed. Like the first 3 years was so intense. It was so intense. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was helping, and and the church, they helped me, but it was just we communicate over time, but I wasn't fully going every Sunday. But yeah, I do get help from the church as well. I'm connected.
But I want to give information about the church. I believe in God. I believe that we're of a purpose. I believe that God arose from the dead. But I think that the Christian church was a purpose. So I want to give you some information.
All right.
But for some reason,
no, I can hear you fine. It's raining out here right now, so.
Okay, because I don't know if okay. Well, I'm going to end this. Pleasure. Come back after and then you can come back and talk about how you
Man, I love you. I appreciate you so much. I love you. I thank you for you being a vessel through God, you and your family, and just everything that you're trying to help me with, and just even hearing my story, and also to the world, y'all. Just for anybody that's watching it, watch it. Don't judge me by my broken image because I have a soul, right? But this is, you got to go through a little bit of fire and some pounding in order to become sharp. And I love y'all as well, and I wish the best for y'all out there as well with similar situations. And just know through God you can beat it. And Nariah, again, thank you for everything. I love you so much, and I appreciate this help. I will get at you. I got a few ideas I want to actually throw your way, on topics. So it's not necessarily me being on the live, but I think important topics due to certain things within culture. You know what I'm saying? Not just on no gang shit or, stuff like that or whatever, but even like within relationship. And I got questions, as well. But I, definitely if I can hook in to have my wife talk to you. She's a great woman, but she needs to talk to another woman that's a wife, you know, that has the principles and understand, like, she ain't a bad person. I don't think she mean me bad. It's just, you know, we got to learn, you know, through situations on how to deal with stuff. But again, man, I love you more than Valentine's, man. Much love to you and your family, man. Y'all got everything. You feel me?
I'll be in touch.
Off top. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. It's love. Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Bye.